This video is about one thing: standards. Specifically, who they apply to and who they don't. Over the past 3 months, I have been the subject of a sustained public campaign across more than 50 live streams. The accusations have been wide-ranging, repeated, and stated as fact. And for a while, I let them sit. I documented, I researched, I verified. Because that's what I do. But there comes a point where documentation becomes a responsibility, where sitting on receipts while your name is being used as a recurring prop in someone else's content stops being patience and starts being complicity in your own misrepresentation. So we're going to talk about the standard, all of it, with dates, with timestamps, with direct quotes. Let's start at the beginning. Accounts. February 10th. Crama Reels is not ran by just one person. I have a tendency to believe that it is likely 2 people. February 12th. I expect Crama Reels to probably have accounts that talk to each other and have whole conversations. I'm waiting for it. March 30th. I think Crama Reels is ran by multiple people, but they use mostly AI for their productions. May 5th. I actually believe that Crama has more than her. I believe Crama works with Terry Lynn. I believe there's multiple people. 3 months. Same accusation. 0 receipts. Stated as fact every single time. Here is the actual record. I had 3 YouTube accounts. 1 is my main channel. 1 was my music channel, since deleted. 1 is an older account attached to a phone number I no longer use. It's still there, I just don't use it. 3 accounts. 2 active, 1 dormant. All mine. All above board. All within YouTube's own policy. Now let's talk about the standard being applied. May 11th. Same person, her own stream, her own mouth. I don't have troll accounts. I have research accounts. I got like 3 research accounts. I do now have officially like 2 or 3. I think it's 3 different accounts that I'm managing right now. 3 accounts, currently managing, for research. And there is a person in this community, a self-admitted troll, who openly goes into chats under multiple accounts, appears on panels, and is not only tolerated but celebrated. May 5th. She's a self-admitted troll. And the response? I like her. She's great. She's a wonderful human. She will always be welcome here. And I don't really give a damn who that bothers. Same stream. About me. Crama Reels is just a slot bucket. Messy. Tried to do a bunch of stuff. Self-admitted troll. Multiple accounts. Always welcome. Me. 2 active accounts per policy, documentary content, documented receipts, slot bucket, doxing and privacy. For 3 months, I was accused of doxing people, spreading private information, running backgrounds on creators. Let's talk about what was actually documented in those same transcripts. February 8th. Truth's wife was doxed in this community, acknowledged on stream. February 13th. A creator in this community said the following, on a public live stream, about someone who criticized her. If they bring me up again, I will dox the hell out of them. That is not an accusation. That is not speculation. That is a direct quote from a public stream. And the private text messages between Becky and Clue, shown publicly on May 10th, were shared without consent. Private communications, on a public platform, to an audience. That is the same behavior I was accused of, except I didn't do it. February 24th, her own words. Hypocrisy is at an all-time high. Every single person is a hypocrite. If you deny you're a hypocrite, you are both a hypocrite and a liar. On that point, we agree completely. Receipts and proof. The filing cabinet. That is the nickname this community gave to the person who positioned herself as the receipts-forward, evidence-driven, document everything truth teller of this space. February 10th. I came on this app doing the exact same thing I'm doing today. I just want the truth. May 11th, 8 hours into a stream. She found the timestamp of a clip she had been referencing for days. Found it, labeled, ready to play, and then switched to web sleuths content instead of playing it. Clue documented this on her own stream the same night. She literally says it says Cletus goes off. She found it, but miraculously, all of a sudden switches over to going over web sleuths. 8 hours. The people literally said she just found it and she won't play it. The filing cabinet. Couldn't find the file, or didn't want to. Because here's the pattern that runs through every single accusation leveled at me across 52 streams. I've been saying this for 3 months. That is the proof. Repetition dressed up as evidence. Volume dressed up as documentation. Duration dressed up as truth. That's not how receipts work. That's not how documentation works. And that's not how I work. AI and content tools. April 13th. There will never be a day that I review AI-generated content. April 14th. All of Crama Reel's stuff is AI. Everything is AI summaries. Your channel is built solely off AI. I use Claude. I use ChatGPT. I use Grok. I use them to research, cross-reference, and verify information before producing documentary-style content. That is not laziness. That is using every available tool to get it right, in that same community, in that same period. Betty, who received 7 hours of coverage in a single stream, used ChatGPT to run psychological evaluations on suspects in an active missing persons case. Covered, reviewed, for hours. Not refused because it was AI generated. The AI-generated thumbnails being used across this community apparently don't count either. And then, May 11th, her own stream, her own admission. 3 research accounts she is actively managing. Tools, just like mine. Except mine make me a slop factory, and hers make her a researcher. Harassment and threats, May 10th. A creator in this community made the following statement on a public live stream. I will bust that ugly ass wide open better than Kyle ever could. You're going to take this D. The response 2 days later. It wasn't a threat. It was a threat to expose me. A documented sexual threat on a public stream, reframed as a metaphor, by the same community that spent months accusing me of harassment for watching streams and sending emails I was asked to send. And while all of that was happening, Betty's audience was being directed on stream to go into other creators' chats and drop coordinated emoji responses. That is what coordinated harassment actually looks like. Not someone watching a stream, not someone sending an email when asked. Content and exploitation. I was accused of content farming, of obsessively covering a creator for personal gain. February 9th. I spent 2 years reviewing BJ for the purpose of debunking. 2 years of the same creator, then pivoted to Julie, then Betty. May 11th. When called out for the Julie coverage, there is definitely no obsession. Don't get it twisted. I covered a creator. I stopped when I found out she was pregnant. That was my line. I held it, without announcement, without drama, without a 7-hour stream explaining my decision. I just stopped, because that is what actual standards look like. Transparency and honesty. February 10th. I came on this app doing the exact same thing I'm doing today. If you expect something out of me that's different than what you're getting, hit that unsub button. I just want the truth. And yet, the same person who said that spent 3 months stating unverified accusations about me as fact. The same person who said that admitted to having 3 research accounts she didn't initially disclose. The same person who said that selectively released private messages while positioning herself as someone who protects privacy. The same person who said that found a time-stamped clip she had been referencing for days and then didn't play it. February 24th. Her own words, unprompted. Hypocrisy is at an all-time high. Every single person is a hypocrite. Don't care what you say, it's the truth. If you deny you're a hypocrite, you are both a hypocrite and a liar. I'm not going to call anyone a hypocrite. I'm going to let the record do it. And now we need to talk about something bigger than me, the pattern. Because here is what the transcripts actually show when you step back far enough to see the whole picture. This is not the first time, not even close. February 9th. Her own words. I spent 2 years reviewing BJ for the purpose of debunking. That was my initial intent because she is a tragedy vulture, just like we see so many others do the same things. 2 years on one target, then a pivot, then a new target, then the same accusations, the same framing, the same playbook. March 7th. About Julie. Her own words. I really hope in 2 years it's not escalating to where we are with BJ. Can you imagine if she's still getting away with this type of thing 2 years from now, like BJ did? She recognized the cycle in someone else, named it clearly, documented it carefully, and then ran the same cycle herself. February 9th. Someone in her own community said it directly. History needs to be reminded because she's still doing the same thing, just to different people now. That line was said about someone else in this community, but it describes this situation exactly. Because the receipts don't just show a double standard applied to me. They show a repeating cycle applied to everyone who ends up in the crosshairs. A target gets identified, accusations begin, stated as speculation, escalated to fact. The community amplifies. Anyone who questions the narrative gets added to the list. The target defends themselves, which becomes proof of guilt. The cycle continues until the next target appears, and then it starts again. February 8th. Documented in the transcript. Someone told her audience the following. Go to her Reddit threads and go look at the history of all the people that she's done dirty. There's probably a lot more proof than you know. That wasn't said about me. That was said in her stream, about someone else, by someone in her own community. March 30th. Another direct quote from the transcripts. You leave the next person open to become the next victim. That is the most important line in 52 streams worth of transcripts. Not because it was said about me, but because it's true, and it applies now, in this situation, to me. I am not the first person this playbook has been run on. And if nobody names the pattern clearly and publicly, I won't be the last. So I'm naming it, with dates, with timestamps, with 52 publicly available live stream transcripts, documented, verified, on the record. This isn't personal. This is the pattern. And the pattern has receipts. I'm Crama Reels, and I approved this message.